So till now, we have seen how we can move tasks from one column to another. But in this one, we'll be covering how we can conditionally allow movement of certain items. So let's say I do not want the first task to be moved from this column to any other columns like in progress or done. To do that, what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'll be creating a variable. Let's call it as isDraggDisabled. Now, this variable is going to be set to true if the task ID is task1. And over here in the droppable, we have this attribute or property called isDraggDisabled. So we'll be setting isDraggDisabled to this variable that we have. Now let's copy this and put it over here. So now when I set this, and if it is true, then I will not be able to move the first task to any other column. Let's try it out. So if I try dragging it, it's not going. But if I do the same with any other task items, you can see I'm able to do that. Now, this does restrict the movement of this particular task. But if I have to toggle around, this is going to get rearranged. So it's not like you are able to move it around, but you can obviously play with other tasks and you can just change the index position of this particular one, but you won't be able to drag it to anywhere, neither in this column nor in any other columns that are present. Now, that being said, it would be very useful if we can tell the user that this particular task is kind of disabled or you cannot drag it, because right now we are not able to differentiate about this. So to do that, we will be creating a background color over here in our container. So here in the container, as of now, we have this isDragging set. Now what we'll do is we'll be adding isDraggDisabled as well as part of this condition. So if you observe closely now, first of all, we are checking that whether isDrag is disabled or not. If it's true, then the task background color will be set to light gray. Otherwise, we'll be going ahead with the previous condition. So if it's being dragged, it will be light green, otherwise white. Now, we need to have this attribute set to our container as well. So over here, just after isDragging, we will be assigning this as well. And now you can see in the to-do list, this one is not disabled. So you get the idea that, okay, this particular task item cannot be moved around. So you can play with other ones, but you cannot move it to any other column or even within this column itself. Now we'll be moving on to our column component. There are two mechanisms available to control where a draggable can be dropped. The simplest mechanism is the droppable type property. You can provide an optional type to a droppable. A draggable can only be dropped into a droppable that shares the same type as the droppable that it started in. Here, I am conditionally assigning the type of the droppable based on the ID of the column. Third column, as you can see over here, will have a type of done, whereas the first two columns will have a type of active. So from active to active, I can definitely drop, but from active to done, I cannot drop. So if I go ahead now and try doing that, let's say pick cook dinner and try moving to done, you can see that it's not allowing me to drop it. But if I go back to in progress, I can do that. So that's one way that I was discussing. Now, the other way is you can decide, like, once from column 1 it moves to column 2, it cannot be brought back to the previous column. So it's like from step 1, if it has gone to step 2, you cannot bring it back to step 1. It has to move forward from that point onwards. So to do that, we can just get rid of this condition for now, and we'll be kind of including a new attribute over here, that is drop disabled. And here we will be passing it from the index page. So this property that you see is drop disabled is being passed from the index page. So let's go to the index page first of all. And over here in the index page, what we'll do is we'll be introducing this to our column component. So here in our index page, we'll be providing this value now over here. So we have is drop disabled, but you can see that it's throwing an error because this variable is not yet defined. So to do that, we'll be creating this variable, and before doing that, we will be requiring this index position. Then only we will be able to tell whether it has moved from column position 1 to column position 2 or 3. And to do that, we will have to update this piece of code. So along with column ID, we'll now have index as well. So here we have passed the index, and just after the task ID, we will now create the value is drop disabled. Now is drop disabled is going to be set to true if the index position is less than the home index position. So this is something that we will be having from our state. So we'll be creating that as well. Now we have passed this is drop disabled over here. Let's go to on start event now, and on the start we will be getting this home index value now. And to do that, we'll be heading over to our on start event on top, and here we have the on drag start. Now we will be getting this value of home index. So here we have the column order, and then we have the index of start.source.droppable id. So based on that, we will get the home index, and once we have the home index, we will have to update the state, and we can do that by making use of the set state. So here we are setting the home index, and then over here, before passing it to the column, we are using it to set the value of is drop disabled either to true or to false. So that has been done now, and if I now save this, we are back to our screen. So here, now if I pick any of the tasks like watch my favorite show and I try to go to in progress, I'm able to do that. Move to done, I can do that as well. But if I have dropped it and then I try getting it back to do, I'm not able to do that because now it has gone to the next step. So from here I can go and put it on done, but if I now want to get it back to in progress, I cannot do that because it has moved on. So that's what I was trying to explain, how you can restrict certain movements at task level as well as at column level.